Hi, welcome to Get a Clue Casual Gamer, where we get a clue, CLUE, about a game. Normally, we look at one game and we find out about the components, the length of play, the uniqueness, and the ease. But today we're starting my top 100, and we're very low key about this list. For those who watch me, I don't edit, so what goes goes, including my great artistic talent in here for my list. Anyway, today we're going to be looking at my number 100 to 91 favorite games of all time, and they're all over the place. Now, because I'm going to tell you right now, my first 50, from 51 to 100, I am not going to pull out the game from wherever it is, because right now I am not pulling out 50 games and then having to replace them and stuff. No, I'm not doing it. I will decide when I get below 50 if I want to start doing that. But I definitely will for the top 20 for sure. But as an added plus to make up for the fact that I'm not going to be showing you the lovely cover, and I don't edit, so there's not going to be a nice little picture of it, the cover. I am going to give you a little description of what the game is all about, so that it might touch your interest. It will help you better understand what it is all about. So let's get started with my top 100, number 100. And also, I will be comparing it to at least the last 2 years, whether it's new, what number it was last year, the year before that. We'll see. Number 100. I bought it new this year, so it's the first time it's on my list. I played it for the first time this year. It's called Trekking the World. Trekking the World is part of that little foursome of games. Trekking the World, before that was Trekking the National Parks. After that came Trekking Through History and Her Story. And all of them are from the same company. Now, Trekking the National Parks and Trekking the World play similarly. You have a map, and you are going from one place to the other, trying to collect the points that each location will carry. What I addedly, not a real word, love about these four games at all is that you can play them just as a game, but all four of them give you some really good information about that location or that time period or that person, depending on which game you're playing. If you're playing Trekking the World, the cards will give you, on the backside, usually on all of these, the backside will give you more information about that location. And so these are good games to play and to enjoy playing, but also you have some passive learning opportunities through it. So Trekking the World is my number 100, and it's the first time I played it was this year, so it's the first time that it's on any of my lists, and it came out in 2020. And let's go on to number 99. Number 99 is also a new one this year. I bought it this year, came out in 2021. It's called Mystic Paths. Mystic Paths is a word-based game. So you have a board, and then you have these words that get put out randomly in these, I think they're hexagonal shapes, maybe they're circles, I don't remember, but anyway, they set out in certain sections, okay, and then it's a cooperative game. You and the other person, it has a card that shows on it a path that you're trying to get them to accomplish, to follow. And to get them to go to, they start on one end, and then they either can go straight or left or right, and it's like, okay, you want them to go left. So you give them a one word clue, and from that clue they have to decide which of these three possible words is it. And then if they say that they move to the right spot with the right word, great, keep on going. But if they go to the wrong word, you stop, and it's the other person's turn, and you get a penalty. And you don't want to run out of penalties before you both get across the board, following the path that the other player has for you. It reminds me a little bit of games like, it's a word game. You're using one word to get one word across. So modern games would be something like Just One or So Clover. An old game, TV show game, was Password. You have one word clue, and they try to guess the one word, and you lose points if you don't catch it right. So yeah, it's that kind of thing. So it's a little quirky, but you never have more than, I don't think you ever have more than 3 or 4 words that it could possibly be. So trying to pick the right clue for them to follow along and not deviate into the wrong direction, that is Mystic Paths, my 99, first time on the list. My 98 is another first timer on my list, and it came out in 2022. So we've got from 2020, 21, 22, and this one is Verdant. Verdant, it's a beautiful cover, and actually the cards in it are very pretty as well, the plant ones especially. It is a tile laying game, though you're actually laying cards, and you're picking up cards that are a plant and an object, and then you're having to place them down next to each other, I believe, if I remember correctly. It's been a few months since I played it. And you place them, and then the plant could also want a specific object, like a watering can or something like that, something similar like that, on top of it. And you're just basically trying to create a grid of plant, object, plant, object, plant, object, plant, object, and these extra little cards, little chipboard things that can add points to it. So it's a very logistical type of puzzliness to it, and I love tile laying games, and it's beautiful. Let's see, what does it remind me of? It does remind me a little bit of Cascadia, a little bit of Overboss, especially putting, the both of those have little chipboard things that you put on top of the tiles, depending on where it is. Games like, I think, Floriferous, and all these games, Kohaku, where you pick up a fish and an object, and you have to place them, in a specific way to get the most points. Yeah, that is Verdant, my 98. My 97 came out in the year 2000. It is this year 24 years old. It came out in the year 2000. Number 90. Oops, sorry, I keep on knocking this little table. Save Dr. Lucky. Save Dr. Lucky is I believe it's the second in the series, with Kill Dr. Lucky being the oldest, the first one, and then Save Dr. Lucky came out. Save Dr. Lucky is a concept of Dr. Lucky is on a ship, and the ship has 4 levels, and you're trying to keep him alive, from drowning because the ship starts to sink, it starts to take on water, and you're trying to get Dr. Lucky to the higher levels, but different people are trying to do it to get their points, and so different people might try and stop you from being able to do it. And so, yeah, it's Save Dr. Lucky. The board itself is actually 4 boards, and when one level gets flooded, it goes away, and you still try and keep him above the water, keep him safe. So Save Dr. Lucky is my number 97. I'll just maybe tell you a little bit more about him a little bit later in another video. My number 96 is oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you. Save Dr. Lucky is number 97 this year. Last year was number 74. And the previous year before that, I hadn't bought it yet. Even though it was older, it was a little on the more expensive side, so I kept on putting off buying it. I had a print and play version of it. I have the print and play version of it. And so I could play it if I wanted to with the print and play, but I finally, a couple years ago, bought the game. And it was number 74 last year. It went down, but I think it's just because I have so many newer games, and they just kind of like push it off a little bit. But it is a fun little game of keeping him alive, keeping him from drowning before anybody else does. And so number 9, my next one is number 96, and this one is Detective Club. Last year, it was way up there at number 22, and the previous year, 2 years ago, it was number 15. But I will tell you, I have played so many new games since then that it's hard to keep it alive. I love the game, but I think I'm starting to get a little tired of all the different social deduction games, because it is kind of like a social deduction game, kind of like Dixit, kind of like Werewolf. It's kind of like a combination of the two. Detective Club is the person who's it, and the it person rotates around the table. The person who's it chooses a word or a phrase, writes it down on all but one pad of paper. There's a pad of paper for each player, but one of them is going to remain plain. And then they shuffle them up, and then they hand them out secretly, and each person looks to see if they have the word or phrase. Whoo, okay, this is going to be an easier round. But if you have a blank one and it doesn't tell you what the secret word or phrase is, you're going to have to decide from the cards in your hand which ones might make sense from all the ones that are being shown. Because starting with the person who chose the word or phrase, they will put down a picture card. The picture cards are very similar to the Dixit picture cards, or the Mysterium picture cards, or even the Rear Window picture cards. Stella, all those Dixit type of games that have these surreal pictures on them, that's what's used in Detective Club. And so they'll put down one picture, and then each person goes around and places down one of their cards. They got 5 to 6, 7, 8, I don't remember how many cards you have in your hand. And then and you go around, and then you go around a second time, and then the third time the person who is it says, the word was adventurous, let's just say. And then they explain why each of their cards that they've placed down in front of them represents adventurous. And then each person goes around the circle explaining why they chose the card that they chose, including the person who now knows what the word is, and they're looking at their cards going, how can I make this have anything to do with adventurous? But it gives you an opportunity to really come up with a story, and so it's a lot more creative than some of the other social deduction games. This is a very creative, it gives you an opportunity to actually have time, unless you're the very next person. Then you really are out of luck. It's really hard to be, you really got to be really good at that. But anyway, so yeah, that is the basic. And then, of course, everyone votes. And if people voted correctly, who was the one who didn't have the right, didn't know the word and everything, points go out that way. And, it's good. That was my 96. My 95, I've had it for a couple years. This year it's 95. Last year it was 162. I had to go looking way back in the numbers to find it, because I really had only had a chance to play it like once, I think, at the time. Now I've had a couple more chances to play it, and so it's up a little bit higher. 95 came out in 2017. Excuse me, I'm going to get a little bit of water here. Excuse me. Okay, so campy creatures are literally campy creatures, but each one has an ability, something that when you play that card, something specific happens. Everyone has the same cards, but you are going to play them in different orders. Like one might say, when you play it, it says it negates what everyone else, what the other cards say. And somebody else put down that by playing this down, they win that round, and but yours just negated them, so they don't win that round. Things like that, little things. If you've ever played like Love Letter, that kind of type thing, it's just these campy looking creatures, like from B movies in the 50s or whatever, and that's the game. It's very simple. It's just a card game, and you can play it very quickly, play different rounds, and it's a very quick game. My number 95 this year. My number 94, I was floored to see it this low on the number, but then I also looked at my top 100 and went, I would be willing to play any of these. I like them all. I mean, my list is almost to 400, and so my top 100 are really games that I like to play, but this one's a very simple one, a great entry-level game. It's a card game. That's it. Cards. Point Salad. Point Salad last year was my number 54, and the year before that my 77. This year it's 94. But again, every year there's so many new games being thrown at you to learn and to play, and there's just so much room for games in the top 100. But it's still there. And Point Salad, I love to play it because it is very easy to teach and to pick up very quickly. Again, most of the games in my top 100, not all, but most of them actually have their own video on my channel, so you can check them out. But Point Salad, the cards are two-sided. One side has a vegetable, and the other side has a goal. Goals like 5 points for every combination of tomato and carrot. So if you choose that goal, you're going to be trying to collect tomatoes and carrots and match them so that you get 5 points, 5 points, 5 points, 5 points. But at the same time, there's another goal that says you get 7 points if you have the most tomatoes. So you're also going, oh, well, I can get extra tomatoes as well. They won't count for the 5 points, but they'll count for the 7 points, having more tomatoes than anyone else. And everyone can see what other people have. So it's not like a big secret or something. And so you're just picking, when it's your turn, you can pick either one goal or 2 vegetables. And you just line them up however you want to help you keep track of them. I just line up each vegetable in its own little row and each goal on its own so I can see them clearly. And at the end of the game, you just count out how many points you have, and the one with the most wins. Simple as that. That's it. That's Point Salad, my number 94, and came out in 2019. My number 93 came out in 2018. Last year, it was my number 45, and the year before that, my number 24. And I know why it has fallen. It's because I can't find anyone to play it with. I try and explain. It's a very difficult game to try and explain. It is a deduction game. It's a cooperative game, but it is a difficult game to explain. And when you try to start explaining it, people tend to glaze over. But I'm here like, but it's such a game, a crunchy deduction game. It's not pretty. It's the excuse me, the mugshots of early 20th century criminals in Australia, and it's called Fallen Angels. Fallen Angels last year, like I said, was my number 45, and the year before that was my number 24. This year it's my 93. I still would love to be able to play it, but finding someone who's willing to play it, let alone understand it when I try and explain it to them, it's a very difficult one to do. But it's still there in my top 100 because I would love to be able to play it again. It's my number 93 this year. And it does not remind me of any other game. There's no, what you're trying to do is, they're double-sided, and actually they're four-sided because you flip them and you flip them and you flip them. And you're trying to figure out what symbol is on the back side of your cards, and other people try and give you hints, and then from the hints they give you, you will say, okay, it's one of two things. It's a magnifying glass, and they're here like, yes, or oh no, it's not. I'm like, oh, it was okay, so then it's got to be the other thing on here. I don't know, what is it? Anyway, so that is Fallen Angels, my number 93. Number 92 is new to me this year. Came out in 2021, and it is called Dog Lover. In fact, I just got it for Christmas. I can't show you it because it's right here on my Christmas and my December and January list. Here it is. Dog Lover. I'll give you that one. Dog Lover. Okay, so it is a card game. Solid card game. You create a grid, and the grid will have different dogs, food, toys, all that kind of stuff. And basically you're choosing a row or a column, or it does have a, okay, I would tell you, it's very similar to Cat Lady, the game Cat Lady, which I also have. But Cat Lady is simpler. And this is a step up. So if you're going to teach someone one of them, I would teach them Cat Lady first. And then once they've got Cat Lady down, which is very simple, then you do Dog Lover. And Dog Lover just adds a little thing else to it to make it a little bit more, and take a little bit more concentration and keep track of. But Dog Lover is just combining, you're trying to pick dogs and feed them and add cards like leashes or training and stuff that will give added points, and you match them with the different dogs, and you just try and choose cards that will give you the most points at the end of the game. It's simple. It's just cards on a table. And you're picking a row or a column, or it depends on what training your dog has had to, if it can do more intricate shapes. But other than that, it's a wonderful little card game called Dog Lover, and it's my number 92. And for the last one for this video is my number 91. Last year it was my number 42, and the year before that it was a new game to me, so I hadn't played it yet. I have played it quite a few times. It's a simple game. It is in the same family as, okay, Herbaceous is my number 91. There's another game called Floriferous, and another one, Sunset Over Water, and then they're all from, and oh, in fact, there it is. There's herbaceous and floriferous. Anyway, I am not leaning over there and grabbing them. Okay, but basically, you've got four different containers that you're trying to fill with these plants, with these herbs, and one container might prefer one. They give you a point for every different herb you put in it. And so you're trying to choose up and save up all different kinds of herbs and play them in your pot before somebody else ends the game. And another one will be, it gives you a point for all of the same herb you have in that pot. Things like that. That's what you're trying to do. Very, very entry friendly game. It's just a card game. Again, you're just trying to create the correct sets of herbs to put in your 4 containers. And that's the game of Herbaceous. And that is my number 91 that came out in 2017. Last year was 42. It has gone down, but I still love it. And it's a wonderful entry level game. There you have it. My number 100 to 91, all in 26 minutes and 41 seconds. And so the next video will be my number 90 to 81. What will it be? I'll see you next time. Until then, happy gaming and God bless you and your family. Bye.